I'm Sanford Friveris, and I've come here to sunny Llandudno today on behalf of 18 Doughty Street to ask Welsh Conservatives Guto, Bebb and Dylan Jones-Evans just how Welsh are the Welsh Conservatives and what do they have to offer for Wales? How Welsh are the Welsh Tories?
Well, clearly, what we've seen over the last few years is that the Welsh Conservatives have seen the benefits of devolution. And certainly here in Aberconwy, what we've seen is that you've had Guto here standing next to me, who was the candidate in 2003, who comes very much from a Welsh, a Cymraeg, sort of a proper Welsh background. And the same here with me. I come from a Welsh language background as well. And I think that whole issue of the Conservatives embracing Welshness has become now an integral part of our policies, and more importantly, those policies after May the 3rd this year.
And how do you see the situation in North Wales at the moment?
In terms of?
Political situation here.
Well, it's an interesting political situation because clearly the Conservative Party were always strong, particularly in central North Wales. And of course, they haven't won a seat here since, well, it was since 1992. That was the last time Wyn Roberts actually held a seat here under the old seat of Conwy. But clearly things are changing. We've seen that there's been a growth in support not only here, obviously in Aberconwy, where we have really benefited to an extent from the change in boundaries, but also in places like Delyn and the Vale of Clwyd, who have been Labour strongholds but are now slowly moving back towards the Conservatives.
What do you see as the chief problems for the people in North Wales, and what does the Conservative Party intend to do about it?
I think the main problem is, like I say, every other part of Wales. It's more about how people don't feel politicians are listening to their main concerns. I mean, the perfect example of that was with regard to the downgrading of services here at Llandudno Hospital, where clearly decisions were made to move ahead with this vast exercise in downgrading without any proper consultation with local people. And that, I think, has backfired enormously on the Labour government in Cardiff, as it has done in other parts of Wales.
You've had something to say recently about the housing crisis here in Wales. Do you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, I think the whole issue about affordable housing is probably one of the biggest social issues facing all parts of Wales, but particularly rural Wales, where you've seen an enormous increase in the housing prices. And actually, it's not. We're not necessarily talking about social housing here. We're talking about affordable housing, what they call this 2020 problem, where people who are in their 20s who are earning above the national average wage of £20,000, not even they can afford to live in the towns and villages in which they were brought up and wish to bring up their own families. What I'd like to see, and what the Conservative Party has said it wants to do, is it wants to change planning laws. There is no reason, in my opinion, why we have to keep to the strict dogma of planning across Wales without actually looking and actually changing the laws so they perceive and actually reflect local needs rather than something that an inspector has passed down many years ago.
Will the Conservative Party be disappointed if it doesn't come in second place on May the 4th?
I think yes. I think we would be disappointed, but any advancement will be of benefit to this party. I think the question to ask more than anything else is whether we are slowly changing the minds and opinions of people in Wales towards the Conservative Party as being the only centre-right party within Wales, and actually being able to offer a real alternative to the socialism of Plaid Cymru and the socialism of Labour.
Now, to Guto, you are well known in Welsh-speaking circles.
That's quite frightening.
How do you see the Welsh Conservatism appealing to Welsh-speaking areas of Wales?
Well, I think one of the main changes is the fact that we have more and more candidates who are Welsh-speaking who are actually then going out and knocking on the doorstep. And it is creating a whole new picture of what it means to be a Welsh Conservative. So I think it is a slow process, but it's going in the right direction. More importantly for me, however, is the fact that the policies for this Assembly election have been made in Wales by the Welsh Party, and that must be good for Welsh democracy, because to have a right of centre party developing policy in Wales independently of London, it must be a good thing for Welsh democracy, and it must be a good thing for the Welsh Conservative Party as well.
Can I ask you both where you see Wales going if Labour once more form a government?
Well, my own view is that a Labour administration on the 4th of May will be another 4 years of stagnation for Wales. I feel very passionately that the Labour Party has been given a century to make an impact in Wales. If you go through the South Wales valleys, it is testament to the fact that the Labour Party have failed the people of Wales, and I feel quite passionately that whatever happens on the 4th of May, the opposition parties should talk.
Yeah, I'm completely of the same opinion. We've had 8 years of devolution, and it should have been a real devolution dividend, and we haven't had it. We see Wales now at the bottom of the Prosperity League table, despite all the extra money from the Treasury, all the extra money from Europe. And I think it is about time that we actually saw what we could do with a non-Labour government here in Wales, what we could do with a coalition of parties or under a proper programme of policies for the next 4 years, and seeing if we can make that difference to the Welsh economy and, more importantly, Welsh society.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, on the issue of housing, I think affordable housing is actually a crucial issue in this election. I think that the offer from Plaid Cymru of £5,000 for first-time buyers is mistaken, because I think A, £5,000 won't give you a deposit in many areas of North Wales, and B, it just adds to house price inflation. Our candidate in Montgomeryshire, Dan Mumford, is actually experimenting with a community land trust in order to develop affordable housing in local communities in Montgomeryshire. And the idea there is that the ownership of the land remains with the community land company, and then the buildings are actually built, the houses are sold, but obviously at a considerable reduction compared to the market value. And the good thing there is that the community, by ownership of the land, retains possession of those houses in effect. And I think that's something that we should be looking at. It's being experimented with in mid-Wales, but I think if that's a success, we should be looking at that in rural Wales in general.
Yeah, and I just want to make one point, as you say, going back to the first point about Welsh Conservatives and the point that Guto made about the importance of policies made in Wales. I think what we will be seeing after May the 3rd is a greater maturity, I think, in the types of policies that we should be developing for Wales. I do not believe that devolution has resulted in us looking for specific policies that make a difference. And I think the way that the Welsh Conservatives have matured, particularly over the last 2 years, and the absolute willingness of David Cameron to let the Conservatives in Wales go their own way in terms of developing policies, that's what will make a real difference to, like I say, those people who naturally wouldn't vote for either Plaid Cymru or Labour, but have not yet found a natural home for their sort of a centrist or centrist-right approach to policy in Wales.
What do you think of Lord Ellis Thomas's remarks last night that there should be a referendum on lawmaking powers in Wales?
I believe there should be a referendum on lawmaking powers in Wales. I think that Wales has always been the poor cousin, and actually on the doorstep, it's an interesting question that you're actually asked. They ask the same question, what do you think? Because a lot of people feel that Wales got a very bad deal out of Labour. And we've seen it now, for example, with the way that in Scotland, people are allowed to stand on the regional list and in a first past the post, but they're not allowed to do so in Wales. It's as if the Labour Party in Wales have believed that they set the rules, they want to govern the country in their own way, rather than actually giving the people of Wales the same opportunities as other places.
Well, thank you both very much.
Well,
good luck in the election.